how do you get involved with multi-million-dollar hotels that are 5-star? This is like, an everyday Australian would, as an investor, would dream about.
So you've got additional cash flow. Returns are up to 18%, 20%, and more, depending on the project.
Yeah.
Managed by worldwide multi-billion-dollar companies.
Mm-hmm. Every question I could possibly imagine. And I had some pretty curly ones, but the door was always open. There was nothing that was hidden, and I like that. It was completely transparent.
Yeah. You
And I think that was, you should take a hat off to that. It's kudos to you for that.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another podcast from Geonet Property and Finance Group. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to get all the latest information and updates about investing in property, wealth creation through property investment throughout Asia, Pacific, Australia, and most importantly, Bali. But today, I've got an amazing podcast and two amazing gentlemen in the room that over 50 years experience 5 decades of helping Australians with property investment, wealth creation, and financial coaching. So, gentlemen, Scott Bradley and
Thank you, Dad. Gary.
and Katri Williams, thanks for coming in today.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, first time to Bali for yourself, and welcome back to.
Thank you. Yeah,
Bali.
always love it.
Yeah,
Always love it.
So, gentlemen, this is going to be a pretty exciting podcast for people that are listening in because, more important than ever, we're going to talk about things about financial coaching and how important that is to people, but retirement and how people are using Bali property investment for retiring. But I guess first I want to go through your background, Gary, because they call you the grandfather of mortgage broking. You've done a lot for Australians, particularly in South Australia, over the last 30 years through wealth creation through property in South Australia. So what a journey.
Oh, well, I feel more like a great-grandfather just quietly, and but I've been around for a while. Look, Assured's been going since 1989, so that's getting back. And it's great when you have a uniqueness and there's not much around. And we created three brokers in Adelaide, created and helped start the mortgage industry. Mm-hmm. And so we've evolved right through that. And then you get through life and your business grows and you see opportunity. Now, there's a link on the screen right now. It's called Don't Retire Broke. Mm-hmm. You need to watch it. I
have watched it. It's powerful stuff, but it's a little bit scary stuff too. We're talking about on your content. You're talking about 80% of Australians aren't really ready for retirement. But
well, the thing I can't get over is that if I say to somebody, let's just say retirement's on the table right now. Mm-hmm. Today you're going to retire. How much income do you need? They will go, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want your income and your lifestyle to drop or dive? Of course not. Well, tell me how much of a tank you've got in the background that you can drip feed a lifestyle out of. What do you mean? How much you got invested? And most Australians might have 600,000 in super, 1, maybe 2 investment properties, and they go, I'll be right. You don't even know how far short you are if that's the case. You need billions today, millions today. So,
and I guess people that clients that you were dealing with 30 years ago, 3 decades ago, we didn't know we were going to go through COVID, global pandemics, inflation rates are through the roof. Cost of living in Australia it's a real problem, but there's solutions out there.
Look, the thing that we've found out is that there are solutions out there, and you just need a little bit of a help. You need someone to take you by the hand, someone to help you identify where you're short and what the options are. However, right now, I'm over here for one reason. I've heard some extraordinary claims about you, your company, the returns on investment, and I've been through the last 3 days, and what I have seen, I can't wait to take back.
Right.
Because there's a problem over in Oz at the moment. There's a real big problem over there.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to borrow around about $700,000 to put a nice 4-bedroom home, double garage, 2 living. That's a lot of money. So to borrow that sort of money with the banks today, which are putting the squeeze on with borrowing capacity, we need to look afar. And the international market has been in my sights since introducing that with Gatwick. No, that's me. Scott, when Scott introduced me to this opportunity, it seemed I've got to investigate.
Yeah, well, that's good. We're going to get in some more of that as well. I don't want to take it back 30 years ago. I want to talk about property prices in South Australia. But I mean, you're in South Australia. That's your base, and you've done incredibly well. But you've done incredibly well for your investors over those 3 decades. What were property prices in South Australia 30 years ago?
Well, if you have a look at the property price back, I can still remember in 1972, getting into the army, I could buy a home for $8,000. And then it went into the 80s. I bought my first home.
Yeah.
It was $50,000, $10,000 for the land, $40,000 for the build. And then when we got married, a second time, we were in the 90s then, and it was $300 and something thousand. And now we've got first home buyers needing $500,000 or more. And now it's closer to $750,000.
Yeah.
In fact, $1 million or a millionaire isn't worth much anymore.
It's not worth much anymore at all. And we've all been striving to that for a long time to be a millionaire, and then you kind of get there and go, oh, that's not enough. Yeah. So that's a problem. But again, like we're going to talk about that more. There's a solutions out there. And I think when we talk about problems, we're never going to see that again because the math is fundamentally broken. And Scott, I'll lean onto you in this a little bit more as we start talking. But if we get a borrowing capacity as a rough rule of thumb is 7 to 8 times your income, right? And so it's the property prices can't go from $1 million, from 100,000 a couple of decades ago up to $1 million. It can't do that type of growth again because the math is broken. 7 to 8 times your income. We're not earning more at that level to go up the same time as property prices. So that capital growth, it's not there as much anymore.
Well, you can't eat capital growth, but you can eat income.
Yeah.
And that's the lifestyle. That's the key.
Yeah.
I say to people, what's the point in having a freehold? I had a guy one day say to me, oh, my house is worth $3 million. I said, great, you can't eat that.
No.
When you retire, what are you going to eat then? So the second reason why I'm here to check out, thanks to you, Scott, is where does this massive income come from?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
And we'll try and help explain that more a little bit as we get through the podcast.
I jump ahead all the time.
But isn't that interesting? So again, with solutions, the problem is there and it's evident for everybody, but the solutions are there as well because Australia is the 4th richest country in the world. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And it is by 2 reasons, forced government savings, superannuation, and equity.
Yeah.
So when you talk about income, you have the income that you can produce as an individual, as Gary or as Scott. Then you have the income that your property can produce by equity release and investing, and then the income that your superannuation can produce as well, right? And then if you've got income coming from multiple different sources, then we can talk about wealth creation, pay off our debt, get rid of mortgages, and then start to create a revenue stream that will last you into your retirement, right?
Sounds easy.
Sounds easy. Well, you've been doing it for a long time, but you've been doing it with Australian properties. So you said you've looked elsewhere or starting to look to the Bali market or international markets. Because why? Because the cash flow isn't there anymore?
Well, first of all, if you're looking for an investment and you want to know what's going on? What's growing? Bali is now the world's #1 holiday destination. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
now you've been and had a little bit of a holiday. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, the elephants are great.
The elephants will never forget you.
No. Especially when I grabbed its trunk and pointed it towards the girls and hosed them down. That was fun.
It's interesting, right? Because being an expat, I've been living over here for 12 years, but we travel a lot here for different reasons, for work or whatever. So Bali's a bit of a springboard to Asia, and I travel many different places, but there's nothing like Bali. And there's so many things to do. You're an avid diver. We can go diving on a World War II wreck up in Amit. We can go to the elephants. We can look at the rice paddies. We can see the culture. Bali has so much to offer at any one time. Amazing beaches, amazing.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible. So no wonder it's one of the world's best tourism destinations.
Yeah.
And
well, you've lived here for 12 years, and I'm sure you haven't seen it all. Am I right?
Anyway, yeah, we've seen a lot. We've seen a big growth.
And then when you add the fact that how do you get involved with multi-million-dollar hotels that are 5-star? This is like, an everyday Australian would, as an investor, would dream about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I come across this.
Happily, right?
Yeah.
Buy a hotel.
Yeah. And when you're talking about developers, and my investors at the moment are nervous about international because they are. And I understand that. That's why I'm over here to find that out. And then when I find out that we're talking about the right destination and it's grown 300% over here, first tick for me, so 300% in 7 years. The American market's in, the Chinese market's growing. It is the place.
The Indian market is phenomenal. The growth that we've got from Indians is one of the biggest middle classes growing in the world, and they're loving it in Bali. More direct flights coming in from there all the time, and of course, 1.3 million Australians that come here and call. I mean, Bali's like another little state for Australians.
Yeah. Well, Chad, when you find out, I mean, the developer, he's a key point, isn't he? He's a key focus. Is he going to go broke? Is it going to collapse? So then I find out that this developer, the first one I looked at, has been in business for over 45 years, and it's not a multi-million-dollar company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. And then you've got the right property manager to manage it all. And then how much do I get is the amazing part at the end. Stay tuned.
We'll go for it. That feeling just a little bit. Okay, and Gary, again, just to reiterate, Assured Property Invest has been helping Australians in Australia, particularly in South Australia, for over 30 years. And I guess that's what your goal is through this podcast and through your content, is to help them understand better what the investment opportunities are. But you've got the financial team to assist with all of that as well. Mortgage brokers and financial advisors. And
the Assured Group has grown, okay, and it's grown, and it's well known, it's well trusted, and its core values is to look after people.
Yeah, and you don't get to 30 years in business successfully without doing the right thing all along the way. So that was important to you.
Yep. And the Google reviews show that.
So part of the second part of wealth creation, of course, is about having the right financial coach. So let's talk money, because money matters, Scott. And managing money is a skill. It's a learned skill. It's a refined skill. And it's something that we weren't taught in schools, which I don't think is right. But that's where a financial coach comes on board. So tell us, Scott, what does a financial coach do, and how does that work within accountants and quantity surveyors and wealth creation?
Well, I saw this concept back in 1999, and I thought, wow, this is just one of the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it was all about teaching people how to manage money on a high level. Okay, so we're not talking perhaps the My Budget type level, which is an amazing business and helps a lot of people. We're probably talking to people that are doing okay. They're all well, but they just don't realise they can be doing so much better if they understood what was actually happening with their money in and their money out. And I think more importantly, how that money in, money out actually relates to their goals and also to their debt. And when we actually blend all three of those components together, it actually means something. It actually is like, oh, wow, okay, so now I can see what I'm doing here and spending here and how that relates to me paying off my debt so much faster and achieving my other goals. And those other goals obviously invariably include property investment and whatnot. So, and I think the other thing too is that you're right, this is not taught in schools, and we have many teachers as clients, principals, right, name it. In fact, I just want to mention that one of our clients, I didn't realise that part of my due diligence as the reason Gary's here was to sort of say, well, who is this Geonet and can we trust Chad Egan and all the rest of it? Well, part of my due diligence was me last year finding out that one of our clients, who's a couple of teachers, it ends up being your best mate. So at school, so he's known you all his life, am I right?
Yeah, correct.
So there you go. So, that was just another Well, it is a small world, but it was another tick in the box for us to go, okay, character reference, not just the last 12 years, but ever since you were a child. So that was very exciting for us. So, yeah, it's not taught in schools, and it still isn't because the teachers tell us that it's not. So, and then, of course, you mentioned accountants. So we've had dozens and dozens and dozens of accountants and financial planners as clients. And most people say, well, why would an accountant need this? Well, it's really, really easy. It gets back to that old adage about, mechanics have the worst kept cars, plumbers have leaky taps. And I can tell you vets who have been clients have told us they've got the worst kept pets, which we kind of laugh at that and think that's ridiculous, but it is a fact. Yeah. Dentists have the worst kept teeth, not in all cases, but in many. So it's the same with people in their finances. They're just not taught. They don't actually really understand how to put this together. So financial coaching was all about having a proper plan, and then most importantly, having someone to actually be accountable to.
Yep.
Who understands how much better you can be doing.
Yeah, so by using a financial coach with the right mortgage brokers and the right investment opportunities, it gets you to that point of retirement and a healthy retirement, not relying on the government. And I think in your content, Gary, 80% of Australians, that was taken a few years ago, but I don't think it's changed that much. But 80% of Australians are going to be reliant on government support to some degree. That's a broken system to me.
Chad, if you look at an Olympic swimming team and ask the question, why do they need a coach? Because they know how to swim very competitively. So why do they need an old bloke looking around, talking
on track?
It's called perspective.
Yeah,
I've got people who are high net worth individuals that have nothing behind them because they spend their lifestyle. That's why I brought him into my group to help people by saying, alert, have a look at what's going through the wicket keeper. Mm-hmm. And would you like to pay your home? This is a key. How would you like to pay your home off quicker? In fact, in 7 or 8 years from 22 without changing your lifestyle.
And so I just want to reinforce that point that you're saying there as well, Gary. Paying off your home loan faster, not just paying interest on it, because that's just a road to failure, right? Because it's all about wealth creation and having something in retirement, But it's using the cash flow positive investments that you can use that income to pay down the mortgage faster and move to retirement quicker.
Well,
so that's what we need. Yes, cash flow.
Scott's model has 2 sides to it. Let me fix up what's broken, and then if you put another investment property to it, here's a better one for you that produces a positive yield. And I'm saying to my people, if you can borrow at 6.7% and get an 18% yield, even after tax, you're still positive geared. That's amazing. And the biggest comfortable thing I've learned over here is that there's a treaty between Australia and Indonesian government that's 32 years old that protects the investor and not shut them down. I mean, the Indonesian government says, yeah, sure, you can invest over here, but I want 20%. Thank you very much. And even after that, then the Australian government says, well, if you've paid 20% here and our 30% over here, you only pay 10 more.
Correct.
So it's a tax credit. It's
been around for a number 32 years. It's been around longer than Australia.
Yeah, it's good. Not quite. Anybody have been around longer than that.
Okay, so let's get down into the nitty-gritty a bit, I guess, and let's talk about Bali. I mean, there's questions that you guys are coming to because of the questions that are coming from your investors, right?
Yes.
So we're talking about the strength of a Bali investment.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's all about the numbers. So it's relatively simple. It's one of the biggest tourism places on the planet. Every economy needs investment to grow and to survive. And some of what we're doing at the moment is to re-enhance some of the hotels, the older hotels, via investment, rebuild them and put them back onto the market at better investment rates. So by doing that, investors have the opportunity to buy into hotel rooms. Everything is done for them, right? It's not like, I guess it's like having a property manager in Australia to a degree, but we take care of everything.
Well, it's a property manager on steroids as far as I'm concerned, because they literally do everything.
Yeah. Depending on the projects, can be paid monthly, can be paid quarterly. and some of them, when we're using some of the bigger management groups, they might be paid annually. But for the most part, you're paid quarterly. So you've got additional cash flow. Returns of up to 18%, 20%, and more, depending on the projects, managed by worldwide multi-billion-dollar companies that only that can only do the right thing for their shareholders and their groups. I'm talking about the Luke and Tui Blue. Yeah, so you buy into a hotel room and you're sharing the income from tourist arrivals. It's fairly straightforward. Everything's taken care of. It's refurbishment onto the hotel rooms. You don't have to worry about all of
I like that. I love that idea.
So Lynn, and all of that stuff is none of the investor's concern, and groups can't do that by themselves. So they need investors. So they make it very profitable, and the model works, and it works on a global scale. It just works really well here in Bali because obviously the Indonesian government is very open and happy for the tourism dollar and the investment dollar, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Why would they want to shut that down?
Exactly.
That's the key point of them.
And but I mean, Australia's relied on the tourism dollar and offshore investment for many years as well. You can't operate in a global economy without having foreign investment. It just can't. It would cripple any country.
The amazing part is that this is not new news, and you guys, an Australian company on the ground here for over 12 years.
So that was important for you again. So you say, why Geonet? So yes, we are an Australian company. We've been here for over 12 years. We started as a marketing company, and we grew as a marketing company to then work very heavily in real estate. We've worked with some of the biggest real estate brands throughout Australia, and we learned that trade very well. We've worked in the construction industry. We've worked with some of the biggest brands, including Home Corp Constructions, Benson Constructions. We then formulated our own investment company in Australia, and then continued that into Bali as those opportunities arose as well. We're a licensed real estate agent here on the ground. We're also now we're an AFSL holder, an Australian Financial Services license holder as well. So we're incredibly accredited for what we do. And we assembled a team of financial coaches, planners, accountants, quantity surveyors, mortgage brokers, to help Australians release equity, use their self-managed super funds, or invest in their cash into property investment here. But then what we did is we changed the game, because what we've seen was people wanted to invest in Bali, but buying a $500, $600 million property was a little bit too much for them. So we worked with our lawyers, and our lawyers are both here in Indonesia, in Australia, in Jakarta, to fractionalize investment. And that brought it down to an affordable amount. So sometimes they just want to tip their toes into the investment market here, see how it goes for 12 months. Generally, they come over here and then they see everything and they're like, okay, yeah, well, put me in for...
Well, I've witnessed that already.
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't it?
And so the Australian investor can put in $41,000. Just from $41,000 with a return of 18%. Now, I've got to ask you this question. Where did you get that figure from?
Okay.
So how did you work that out?
The numbers are fairly straightforward and they're easy. On our website, you'll see Collier's reports. So industry reports from globally recognized names, and it's all about occupancy levels. Bali's occupancy levels are absolutely incredible. And in these times now, because Bali isn't a cheap holiday, but it can be depending on where you go, but it can be also a very comfortable and luxurious holiday. So we work on assets that are affordable for families, or in the best locations. Yeah. And so it's about occupancy, and then it's about the sharing component of the hotel room or the fractionalized hotel room between the investor and the developer and the management company. Yeah. And again, making it affordable for all Australians at all income levels was important to us, and important for you guys too. We're only seeing that with your investors.
Look, I think it's important to note at this point that Mark, one of your chiefs, was called up by one of my clients who said, look, I've done a bit of a check and your pricing's not realistic and I can get accommodation over there cheaper. And he got online with them, and I've got a recording of it. It was absolutely perfectly done, where he showed that the figures were not comparing apples with apples, and that the figures and return on investment that you're quoting is under really what is also out there.
If you see one of our podcasts most recently with TUI Blue is saying that the numbers are going to be much higher than that. And it's fairly straightforward. And it's about building one of the most popular tourism places in the world was about building the right accommodation as well. So, for example, when we talk about Barabban, it was about having 4 paying guests, about having the clients together. Yeah. So we used space and we used height. We created the loft apartments with all the luxuries of a 5-star hotel. Gym, sauna, ice bath, restaurants, cafe.
Rooftop bar.
Absolutely in the heart of...
Sounds nice. We should go there tonight.
And in the heart of Seminyak, so it's close to everything. But we can put mum and dad upstairs, close the door, you've got your TV and your own privacy. Kids are downstairs in a beautiful rollaway beds and a fold-out couch with their own unique space.
A key point that I didn't even think of is that one of your other developments, the Luke, has 17 commercial venues attached to it. So it's a draw card for people to want to be there. Yeah. So I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah, and that one's very unique. That one there, which is why TUI Blue, one of the biggest tourism operators in the world, is the management company there. But again, on our website, and it might be on your website too, is lots of information about what is happening on the market. So we talk about the numbers, we've got college reports, things like that. But we also show investors what follow the big money. Who else is investing here? Paramount Studios putting up their new resorts. All the biggest hotel brands in the world are in Bali, and more's being built because there's pressure on the Balinese in the Bali market from rooms available, because more people can work from home here, which the Indonesian government is supporting with longer visas. We have a retirement visa here, which is great for Australians as well. We've got tourist numbers through the roof. So all of that is putting pressure on the bed, the available bed market. So we're making more available by building more, and that's where the investment opportunities are.
So a question I would have, like for my clients as well, Chad, would be, why Geonet? There are obviously a lot of different companies in Bali. Why Geonet?
Yep. Again, I think that comes down to the fact that, yes, we are a licensed real estate agent, but we've gone a lot further than that. We're not about just splashbacks and the size of the pool. It's about investment strategies. We're qualified, as I said before. We hold an Australian financial services license through us and our third parties, and we also have investment funds. So you can buy directly into the hotel. We have a new investment fund coming out in the next couple of weeks. So we're incredibly accredited. Yeah, as are all of our support partner with. And that is what, I guess, brings their trust.
But it's more than that, from what I've seen. I mean, it's your relationship with the developers, for example, and having an input into the style and type and offerings that a hotel would offer, yeah?
Yeah, very much so. They come to us from a consultation perspective. And again, it's about being here for a long time that's enabled us to understand, what does the tourism market need?
What do they want?
Yeah, what do they want, what do they need? Again, we go back to Barabban. One of the biggest complaints by when you travel anywhere as a family, Australia's got a birth rate of 1.85. So it's always mum and dad and 2 kids, right? But if you separate them, mum and dad are up on level 3 and the kids are on level 1. It is not a family holiday, right? So we're building stuff that families enjoy. And so,
well, I think that was one of the things that really opened my eyes. That was learning about that and learning how that, the Barabban, for example, how it's a loft that's on 2 different levels. I mean, a lot of the rooms are, at least anyway. And I decided to go and look at some competitors, and I took a video camera and I asked the guy, can we have a look through our, the 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom and whatever. And I said, well, look, okay, so this 1-bedroom, is there room to have 2 kids? Oh, no, you'd have to have the adjoining room.
Yeah.
Oh, so I have to pay double. Yes. And obviously that ends up increasing the price. It's way higher than what the Barabban is. And yet in the Barabban, it's all there. And all that was in there was a television, a bar fridge, and a bed. And that's pretty much it. Whereas in the Barabban, we've got a separate living area. You've got an island bench generally, and then you've got a full kitchen, and upstairs, two toilets, This is just at a one bed.
Exciting stuff.
It's amazing what you want. Yeah.
You've seen a few of the other projects. You're not letting them yet, but yes, exactly. Stay tuned. Okay, well, that's. I think that's made it clear. Hopefully, who we are, where we come from, and I hope that can resonate with your base back in South Australia, Gary.
Yeah. So, how do we know if we can trust GIIO with our money?
Yeah. Again,
that was your question.
Yeah. that was my question. Okay.
We want to grill you today, Chad.
Yeah, who's under the spotlight today? Yeah, again, I think it comes back to accreditation. What our team does, we're a team here. We're over 40 strong, and we work across all parts of the network of what investment needs. We work on the marketing side, we work on the graphic design side, we work in the consultation side with the developers. We've been here for a long time, and we're accredited. So it kind of feels like
you've got a track record, I guess.
So if I can break it down, international investment is almost like scary stuff. When in fact it is. But you guys have done all the work. So I choose, and then I assess, like I've done with the investments that are on the table right now, and I've got my little favourite pick for my investors back home and the reasons why. And to be able to invest from 41,000, which is 25% ownership, or 50%, 75%, or 100% with 4 different levels, apartments and lots and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you've even got a legal department, Chad.
Yeah.
So that, so conflict resolution is out there. You're looking after people right through. And I'm here to say that I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
You're ready to roll? Well, Lauren and I will be rolling out investments here for sure, without a shadow of doubt.
We invest into every project too ourselves. It's for us in our team. It's all about retirement.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Key point.
I was actually going to ask that question.
Key point.
Absolutely important for us to be investing into each of the projects. And again, yes, you're talking about the legal team. That was one of the biggest things, was helping clients understand that they've got the full legal support, not just from day one, but down the track. In fact, our new offices that you've seen, 1,200 square meters, right?
Yeah,
Our lawyers are they're 20 strong, lawyers and accountants. They're in the offices with us under the same roof. So people can come in, they can buy from Australia online, off a website. They can buy from your website now online. Work through with financial coaching, with the financial team back in Australia. And then they can come over here and, walk through the offices and get it. And we can hold their hand all the way through. Yeah. And I think that's the power, the strength of the relationship that I'm excited about. 30 years, I don't think you probably have made a lot of right moves for
36.
36 years. You've made a lot of right moves on the way, Gary. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's been impressed me is that, like Gary's trip, due diligence trip, I guess you might say, when I first did it. And it was about every question I could possibly imagine. And I had some pretty curly ones, but the door was always open. There was nothing that was hidden. And I liked that. It was completely transparent.
Yeah.
And I think that was, you should take a hat off to that. It's kudos to you for that.
And Gary, so if they want South Australians local to you, you put on a lot of nights. You got a nice little wedding style mansion out there in South Australia. You do a lot of investment nights there where the people can come in and talk to you.
We're calling it cinema nights or financial mastery nights. Yes,
financial mastery nights.
Yeah, beautiful. And we talk about it's probably investment 101. Okay, and where do you start? And it starts with educating people. Okay, and I get people to get their I supply them with a little calculator, and we go, let's talk about what return on investment looks like, and what is yield, and I teach them basic stuff first. Have a bit of fun, and usually 100% of people end up wanting to come back for a second interview, one-on-one with me, so I can personalise something for them that's going to be suitable to achieve their goals.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. I think it's a great way to do that. And again, from from your side with your boots on the ground in Australia and our boots on the ground here. I think it's a great unity and being able to help investors all the way through and make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for being in the room today.
Thank you.
There is, if your clients want more advice, reach out to all the contact details that would be below. Here, speak to you guys, speak to your team. I guess the first step is start a conversation, right?
Yes.
Start a conversation. You've been here, you've seen that, you're invested, we're all invested.
Yep.
And then come and join us over here as well, and we're more than happy to accommodate your clients as they come through.
Don't forget to play with the elephants.
I'm glad that you loved Bali, Gary, because you did tell me about some reservations over here. And I think your eyes are...
First time for Bali, yeah.
I think the most impressive part is how all the drivers decide they want to commit suicide and then change their mind.
But it works. It absolutely works.
Yeah.
And they're just so incredibly friendly and Balinese. They do love Australians, right? We've been here.
They do. They're beautiful people.
Beautiful. I was 12 years old when I first came over to Bali. My parents brought us over. Yeah, that was years. So I guess start a conversation, right? That's,
absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I appreciate your time and your effort. Glad you love Bali. Scotty, we'll see more of you soon.
Absolutely.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Geonet Property and Finance podcast. I hope you've got a lot out of today. If you've got questions, speak to their team, speak to ours. We can't wait to see you on the other side. Like and subscribe for more. Thank you very much.